Yeah, independent fact checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
You know, that's damn good coffee. And hot. Hot.
Damn good coffee and hot.
Yeah.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee
sunshine.
and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
I know you come here for actually the other way around. You want us to make you laugh. But day in and day out, the chat room generally makes me laugh. Although I've been advised to tell everybody to shut the hell up. Nobody rocks like these guys do. My band is the hottest band in podcasting. Don't you agree? My house band. Good morning, folks. It is Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. You know, what was it now? Let me think. 45 years ago today, I got off a plane from, I started out on May 8th in Laguna Beach. It was 88 degrees, laying on the beach in the sunshine, shorts, no shirt. Got on a bus to LAX. Obviously, I was wearing a shirt by then. And a flight to New York, overnight flight to New York. And got off. So it was 88 degrees when I left. It was 33 degrees when I arrived, wearing nothing but shorts and a T-shirt. Took a bus to Amityville, New York. Yes, it was a horror scene. And got in a phone booth to keep warm while I called a friend and I said, "What the hell, man? You guys still have winter." I say that because this has been a very strange year here. There is a article in the Wall Street Journal today talking about how warm a year it has been so far on the East Coast. And it has been, it was definitely a mild winter, one of the more mild winters we've ever had here. I think in January and February, we had a couple of days that were well above 70. I mean, it was consistently pretty warm. But then spring came and everything went back to winter. Not like cold, freezing cold, but cold for winter. And I don't know, 40 degrees in springtime is different than 40 degrees in autumn. 40 degrees in autumn is, it's nice out. 40 degrees in springtime is just fucking freezing out. And so we had 3 days of springtime. Yesterday was a beautiful day. And I wake up today and it's dreary and 50 something. And we're back to, where did the springtime go? I actually went to lunch with an old friend, Phil, yesterday. And we were talking about climate change. And Phil is one of these guys who, he doesn't, he's not he doesn't really care. He doesn't read a whole lot. He's not like politically active or any of this stuff. I know he comes from a family that is very conservative and not believing in climate change. And you know what? The problem with the discussion around climate change is that the conversation comes down to whether it's real or not, rather than can we do anything about it. I am of the very strong opinion, based on scientific evidence, that it's real, but I'm also of a pretty strong opinion that it's pretty much irreversible, and I'm not sure how much listen, obviously, mankind and its carbon footprint will have some effect of it, but I'm not sure how much it's not just cyclical, part of the way the globe works, and every few thousand years or every few hundred years or whatever, we go through things like this, and whether we can do anything about it. That's what the discussion could be, should be. Can we do anything about it? Not is it real, because it's very clear if you live here that in my lifetime, everything is different as far as climate. We used to be in a very cold winter, frigid winter pattern for the first half of my life. And the second half of my life, not so much, far less. I mean, and I try to bring this up in these discussions, because anecdotally, um, might not impress people. But the Great South Bay, which is a huge body of water leading out to the Atlantic Ocean off of Long Island, used to freeze 3 feet thick every winter from January to the end of March, and to the point where you could drive a semi truck on it and it wouldn't break through the ice. It doesn't freeze at all. It never freezes, not even like one day 5 years ago, it froze a little bit to like a sheet of ice that would break if a duck walked on it. So we went from being able to drive a semi across the sound to a duck can't walk across. So it's clear that there have been some changes. Whether we can do anything about it or not should be the discussion, but we don't have that discussion. We have people denying that it's real, um, which is silly to me. Because if you pay attention to what's going on, there are definitely huge changes in weather patterns, and there are also huge changes in. Well, it doesn't seem 1 degree does not seem like it would be a huge change in ocean temperatures, but it is. It's generally those things take a century or more to fluctuate, and we've seen it happen in my lifetime. I'm not going to go on the whole rant about this thing. I've already have, I guess, but um, it's weird how we get caught up in these side issues to any real issue in conversation about any of this stuff. Um, the other thing that is pointing to that, like arguing about things that don't matter, the side issues. Mass shooting in Texas, mass shooting, the shooting in Texas that was meant to kill a lot of people, but I think it only killed one person. Um, Speculate now. The guy who did it, and I'm not even going to mention his name. I'm going to try to get into a habit of not uh, giving any airtime to names of crazy criminals, if I can. The guy who did the shooting, uh, a Hispanic guy who has neo-Nazi beliefs. Now they're arguing about whether that makes him a white supremacist. He can't be a white supremacist. He's not white in his mind. Listen, Nick Fuentes is definitely a white supremacist. He calls himself a white supremacist. He's not. He's just as Hispanic as the guy who did the shooting. Kanye West is as dark as they come and can call himself a white supremacist. I think to some extent Candace Owens can too. So just because somebody isn't white doesn't mean they can't believe in white supremacist ideas. That doesn't matter. What matters is how do we stop this fucking shit from happening again? And obviously, if you believe in thoughts and prayers, go keep doing your thoughts and prayers, but they don't work. Now, I had somebody argue with me the other day. Well, they do work. Yeah, it was only one mass shooting. There could have been 320 million of them. That's the science we're going to go by because there weren't more. You assume thoughts and prayers are doing the trick. In any event, there is more we could do. There is more that we could do to stop this stuff. And whatever that turns out to be, whether people, want to put more money into mental health awareness and care for people, this guy's definitely schizophrenic on some level. The other thing is that they're arguing over whether Tim Pool, Tim Pool there's no denying that he looks to incite people. His show, and not Tim Pool alone, not to single him out, but the guy singled him out in his social media stuff and all that stuff. A lot of people who are daily streamers like me, but not like me, use their platform just to incite people, to get them angry about one thing or another without offering any real solutions. The trick is for ratings and attention, you have to be over the top, inflammatory, and inciting. That's how you make money in this business, which is why I'm fucking poor. No, I'm not poor. That's not true. I don't. It's why I'm not a $1 million live streamer. Let's put it that way. But and not looking to get rich by doing things that are really dirty and seedy and getting people to, no matter what your politics are, getting people angry and making people live their lives in a state of anger or resentment, manipulating how they feel about life. It's not worth it. It's not worth a penny. Never mind millions of dollars or what. Tim Pool's a major millionaire, but now he's denying that this guy was influenced. The guy has nothing but praise for Tim Pool. As reposted all of his inflammatory stuff. There is some influence there, and you have to take. I'm sorry, streamers, all of you guys who are inciting people. You have to take some responsibility for the words you say. That's why, I like to focus on comedy and music here, because the worst that can happen in that is you boycott Nickelback, or you cancel culture Louis C.K., or that's the worst that will ever happen from the results of this program, of this kind of thing. So that's my little rant today. Logan Peters, a starstruck or starry-eyed, I think that's how we define the move. Starry-eyed comedian trying to make a name for himself. Obviously, that implies that he hasn't been at it very long. I understand within the last month, he had his first paying comedy performance, and that's a good thing. We support that, and if you follow the program, you know how much I talk about the importance of getting paid. So he will be our guest. We'll talk to him in just a minute or two. Right now, I want to invite you to try out Koa Coffee. Koa Coffee is the best coffee in the United States, according to Forbes magazine. If you believe in Forbes, and why wouldn't you? Well, anyway, they're rated as one of the top 10 in the world. Now, I think that's a little suspect. The United States is, well, we're number one. We're number one. How come our coffee is only in the top 10? Cold coffee is an American coffee, by the way. Hawaii is America. For as long as I've been alive. And that's absolutely true. For exactly as long as I've been, well, Hawaii was a territory before I was alive, but it became a state the day I was born. So there you go. Koa Coffee, I think it's the best coffee in the entire world. So take that, Forbes. This episode is brought to you by Koa Coffee. If you are a coffee connoisseur and want to experience the best coffee Hawaii has to offer, no blends, no compromise, try the true taste of aloha. Koa Coffee produces premium Hawaiian coffee, hand-picked expertly roasted and delivered from Hawaii to your door with aloha. From award-winning 100% Kona coffee grown on the slopes of the Mauna Loa volcano to the unique mocha beans of Maui, they strive to provide their loyal customers with the best quality and freshness. Since 1997, Koa Coffee has been known far and wide as a product of utmost quality, and their awards prove it. Koa Coffee was featured in Forbes' Top 10 Coffees of the World. This is the coffee Forbes called the best coffee in America. Find out what it's all about. Go to minddogtv.com/coffee. Yeah.
You're listening to Coffee with a Dog on Live 365 Mind Dog Radio.
We are on Live 365, and if you don't have the app yet, get the app. You just can scan that sucker that's on the screen right now. You can go to minddogtv.com. There's links to the Google Play Store or Apple App Store where you can get the app. If you don't know, Mind Dog Radio is live 365 iHeartRadio, 24/7 streaming music. This program is live there. Hello, folks, if you're listening. And occasionally, of Dykes and Man, if they ever get started up again, will be on there. My nighttime program on Wednesdays is on there. But for the most part, it's streaming music, a wide variety of music from oldies to modern, mixed in with some comedy bits from your favorites, including people like George Carlin, Doug Stanhope, Bill Hicks, Louis C.K., everybody, Nate Bargatze, everybody in comedy. Everybody. We got clips from everybody I could find anyway on there. So I hope you enjoy that. Now, again, Logan Peters is my guest today. Another Marine. My conclusion, and this is only anecdotal again, but it's based on a pretty solid stat. Every time we've had a service member on this program who was a comedian, they're from the Marines. No Army, we've had no Navy, we've had no Air Force, no Coast Guard, not one. So what does that mean? Either the Marines are the only funny branch in the service, or the only ones with the balls enough to go after what they want to go after in life. And so you draw your own conclusions, but the amount of Marines who are turned to comedy when their service is done is pretty startling and absolutely true based on the statistics of this program. Ladies and gentlemen, please open up your ears and minds and help me welcome Mississippi's favorite young comedian.
Hey, Matt,
Logan
thanks.
Peters.
Hey, Matt, thanks for letting me come on, man, for real. It's
What
really
the hell?
appreciated.
What the hell happened to your beard, man? It shrunk.
Man, I had to. So my brother got married not too long ago, probably a couple weeks ago, and with my suit and everything on, I looked like Mr. or Brother Jebediah instead of myself. So I decided to shave it off.
You look probably 10 years younger, man.
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
Yeah.
You can say I look good. It's okay.
You look like my kid nephew. It's like, holy, whoa, what the hell? That's not him. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. I can tell you why it's mainly Marines. It's because you got Mind Dog on for your name, and we're all looking for Mad Dog.
Yeah, well, I used to be Mad Dog when I was a young man, and then I was into mental magic, and somebody gave me the name Mind Dog, and that stuck. So
I like that.
So you did your first paying show in April. Is that true?
I did. Yeah, it was at a small place. Skip Nichols actually gave me the opportunity, which was funny because I'd started doing comedy back before the pandemic, and everything that hit, slowed everything down. Open mics were non-existent. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a break from it, focus on work, whatever I got to do, and then went and saw Bert Kreischer. He was in Tupelo, which is where really close to where I live, mainly where I work out of is Tupelo. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go after it again. that
Uh,
I'm not getting any younger. So
yeah.
I messaged.
Nobody is.
Yeah, I know. I messaged Skip on Facebook. He's like, "Yeah, we got a 15-minute slot. Could you fill 15 minutes?" And I was like, "I'm sure." And at the time, I hadn't written a single joke in 2 years.
Wow.
So, but hey, I was surprised. I almost cried whenever he handed me the money. I was like, "Nah, man, I'm not supposed to take this."
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that is that's common. That's
Hmm.
definitely a common thing that people starting out go through. I'm curious because you know what? I think I've probably spent about 30 minutes in my entire 60, almost 64 years now, in Mississippi in my entire life. What part of Mississippi are you in?
The northeast part, Tupelo, Mississippi, is the closest larger city.
Tupelo, honey.
Yep, Tupelo, Honey, Elvis.
Yeah.
It's. I'm trying to think of anyone else that's. I mean, I'm south of or southeast of Memphis by a couple hours.
Oh, so cool. You're very musical
Oh yeah,
area, but I'm curious about the comedy scene down there. Do you have, is it like, is comedy a big thing? You have clubs happening down? No, what do you have?
nothing. The the closest thing, the only thing in Tupelo that we have that's really comedy centric is our improv group, West of Shake Rag, and to my knowledge, it's the only comedy thing. So what I'm trying to do really is I want to start I'm producing shows and getting local comedians together. And I just met yesterday another person who's doing the same thing a little bit farther south in Amory, Mississippi. So
Wow.
there are people out there who are trying to get comedy off the ground in Mississippi. It's just
It's so weird that you wonder why geographically some areas, like there are areas in the Midwest where they're inundated with too many comedy clubs, and then you go to some places where you would expect
hmm
at least one or two, and there's nothing. And
I agree.
how do you figure that out? Why that is? The people in Tupelo, Mississippi, enjoy comedy as
They
much as
do.
the rest of the world, right?
They do, and it's funny because I mean, as a population, we probably kind of get a bad rap, but I say a bad rap, a stereotypical rap, uh, and most people, especially today with everything that's going on, they just want to laugh. That's all it is. I mean, majority of people can take a joke, and it's very few times that I see people get offended by jokes, which is really cool because
Wow. Well, I have to say that's pretty much the opposite of my experience. But most people don't get this demonstrative of it. Like if you go to see a comedian and you laugh and he tells one thing that you
hmm
just rubs you the wrong way, most people just don't act on it. It's like that whole thing with social media. If you don't like something, you have the ability and the permission to just scroll past.
yeah,
And a lot
exactly.
of people in comedy clubs will generally do that, unless it's like a total, like from start to finish. This guy is just like putting me down. Or if you feel like you are being attacked because of who you are, that will drive people crazy.
It
I have
will.
a friend who's like that. He doesn't watch comedy anymore because he feels like a lot of comedians are just insensitive to his beliefs or whatever he believes, and thinks that everybody's against him or making a fool of him or putting him down in some way. And
Yeah.
I think you got to learn to take a joke. We have to learn to take a joke again.
Yeah.
So the paying gig that you had,
hmm
it looked like it was a library or some kind of museum or something.
Yeah, it was a bookstore. It was a bookstore and coffee shop. Really good coffee. But
Koa coffee. They serve Koa
yeah,
coffee there, right?
I'm
Okay.
sure.
Yes.
uh, it was the first. It was my first PG show. Uh, I've since learned that it's probably a good idea to keep a lot of PG material in my bank. But I, it was understand. I couldn't explain it without just absolutely saying how beautiful the venue really was.
Even from the picture, the video I saw,
hmm
it looked like a
It
place of
was so pretty.
elegance. It looked like could be a mansion, a museum, or some, that's why, yes, a library, something, but not like a shabby library where a local community library, one that was very well.
Yeah, like it belongs in Bruce Wayne's manor.
Yes, that's it.
They, I don't think you could see it from the video, but right behind me was like uh a huge statue that was standing up and kind of over me. It was so pretty. I'm telling you, it was really, really pretty place. And then off that cove that is in that video behind me, off to the side, like you go around that corner, there's like a children's cave, like it's an actual bat cave.
Wow.
It was baller, dude. I'm not even kidding. It was so much fun.
All right, a couple of things based on what you just said.
Hmm.
You talked about your first PG show, and as a Marine, I'm assuming that profanity is no stranger.
No, not even a little bit.
So, do you prefer working, cleaner, or would you prefer to go, talk like a Marine?
Oh, I would definitely prefer to just be me, but I understand that that's not something I could be everywhere. Like I can't use my typical vernacular just all up and down the street. I'd normally kind of rein it in, anyways. My friends get the worst of it though, especially the guys I play games with.
And what about in the place you were working?
Hmm.
Comedy clubs are dark for a reason, and they're crowded for a reason. People get uncomfortable, sitting next to a stranger and touching you. I mean, that
Hmm.
all, if that's by design, it's to make you uncomfortable in the audience, and that enhances the comedy experience. That
Hmm.
looked like lit up. The chairs were at least far enough apart where people didn't feel cramped again. Anti what a comedy club would try to encourage.
Hmm.
Is it harder to do your job in that situation?
It is because you can see immediately the reaction of everybody. I
Right,
mean, the entire venue was lit up. I could see everyone there. Luckily, I kind of stacked the crowd with a lot of my personal friends too.
right.
So I had them kind of strategically placed out. I was like, all right, if y'all laugh at it, then that'll cue everyone else into laughing about it. So,
See, I don't know if I would. I've been there. It's
hmm.
just a long time ago. Well, I think when I was very young, I always just assumed my friends were on my side. But I think now, as I got older, the more I see my friends there, I don't want to see. I want to see strangers because I don't know. My friends make me uncomfortable. Too much familiarity in the audience, and that's why what I like about clubs too. It's so dark sometimes you can't see who's out there,
Hmm.
and that may. But I feel more comfortable performing in front of people who don't know me because in case I suck, I have a off night and I bomb. I'm never gonna have to face anybody, but because very early in my life, I had an experience where I played for my girlfriend's family. They came up to
Hmm.
visit, and I sucked, and it was devastating for me. It was like I can't face these people now. The first time they've ever seen me perform, and I totally bombed. How am I going to go on living? I should just kill myself now. That was my thought. Uh, you feel comfortable
It's
with your friends?
with the friends. All right, my friends are more. We all live on the same hillside. It's Mississippi. We all share the same property and stuff. So I mean, all of my friends are like family. They heard all of my jokes before, and they were there to support me. So I was going to use them. But
Yeah.
yes, definitely, I've noticed, especially in like an open, like I go to a lot of open mics still, and I always seem to be more critical of myself whenever my family or friends are with me.
Wow.
And I feel like I always feel like I've got so much more I can improve on. I mean, I'm just starting this, the sky's the limit kind of thing. And I'm sorry about that.
That's fine.
Uh,
The other night I had Robert Klein on. His son called, and hey Al, he said, "Hey Al, I'm on a what iPod? What's it called? An iPod? I said, "No, a podcast."
uh, but yeah, I have found that it's easier whenever there's not anyone in the crowd. Because, like you said, yeah, I mean, if you don't do good, they're not your friends aren't there to see you bomb.
Right. Now, the part about getting paid, this is important, and I
Hmm.
talk about it all the time. I guess I'm just like a broken record on this kind of stuff, but I do feel like getting paid changes you and for the better, because it sends a unconscious or a subconscious signal that the work you're doing is worth it to somebody. People are willing to put down their hard-earned money for what you do. It tells you that what you do is value. It represents value to them, and it makes your work better. It inspires you to do better work. It ups your game. Did you notice that, or have you noticed it? I know it was recent. It was only a month ago, but
Mhm.
have you noticed a change in your attitude or a change in your approach because somebody said you're worth it?
Yes, I find it's a lot easier to sit down. I'm more motivated to sit down and write my jokes out now. It's
Right.
like, look, if they're going to surprise me with, and it wasn't a lot. It was $20. It was $20, but I mean that's $20 that I didn't have whenever I walked in there,
Right.
and that I got for making things that from my heart and from my brain. I didn't. It's not something that I was doing for someone else. It was something
Absolutely.
you know, I
Yeah.
had made that, and it made me feel so much more. I'm not gonna say accomplished, but driven
Yeah, and
after the
validated.
fact.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen. If somebody told you your work is worth something, and
Hmm.
that means so. And whether they said it in those words or not, handing over $1 is saying that. It's like, yes,
Exactly.
this is worth something to me. So, and but being that, so you have to produce your own shows now,
Yeah.
because there are no real opportunities in comedy clubs. First of all, that shouldn't always be looked at as a negative, because
No.
the first show I did like that, I was 18 years old,
Hmm.
and I had been doing bars and getting paid $75 for a night, a full night of entertainment. And then I did one where I produced myself, and the place sold out. It was a huge venue. And when I went to the doorman at the end of the night, he handed me $1,875, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
uh, like the big difference. So
Hmm.
there's that on the self-producing stuff, but finding the types of venues and the rooms and everything, is that a challenge for you?
It has been, like I said, comedies. There's no comedy scene in Tupelo, Mississippi, aside from the improv group. Uh, so I was literally walking around blocks downtown, asking people if I could put a show on there.
Good for you. I
Uh,
love that.
a coffee shop that I go to every single day. I'm gonna go to it at. I'll probably be there around 1 o'clock today, 1:15. Strange Brew Coffee in Tupelo, Mississippi. I love it. They make some of the best coffee I've ever had in my life.
Cola.
Koa, yeah, Koa. They definitely use Koa.
Mm.
And I was just, I walked in there. I'd walked around an entire block. I had talked to so many people, and no one had the time to even give me. And I walked in just to get my coffee, and I was like, "Hey, do y'all do shows here?" I'd been going to that coffee shop for at least a year and a half now, and I'd never seen them do a show or anything there, no music or anything. And they were like, "Let me ask," and the barista said, "Let me ask," and text the owner right there and said, "Yeah, we're down for it."
Very
I was
cool.
like, "All right then." And then after that, it just kind of started flowing in. Like I got one the next week, and then I got another one the week after. The first week in June, the second week in June, the last week in June, and the first week in August.
Very cool. Um, Now, you've been, I don't know, you have a YouTube channel established, and I have your Facebook stuff in here. I'm going to put
I
your
saw
link
that.
to your YouTube channel. Yeah,
Thank you so much. That's really the best thing that I've ever gotten from anyone is the shout outs and stuff. I did a show May the 1st. I recorded for it. I don't know when it's going to go on TV, but it's a little comedy competition show,
very
uh,
cool.
bombing run, and it just a quick shout out to it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to use your
No, no,
platform
no,
for
no.
them,
Well, what I was
but
going to say, and I'm glad you brought that up, that you have things coming up, because I put this out there every day, and when comedians who have been on the show come back, I feel like I have to smack them and say, "What happened?" Because I put this out every time I have a comedian on. Is if you have anything to promote, all you need to do is drop it in my either email or
hmm
direct messages or something like that. I will mention your shows consistently if I get the information. Paul Peters, yesterday was his fourth time on the program. It's like, oh yeah, I forget, and he'll never forget again. But
yeah,
it's really kind of you have to let people, especially when you're starting out, you have
Hmm.
to be really hyper about letting people know that you're doing, even if they're not going to come to your show. It establishes the fact that, oh, look, he's working, and
Yeah.
so they get expecting that you're a
Hmm.
working comedian now, and they'll look for it. Um, Learning the social media part of
Oh,
it, yeah, hard.
yeah. I'm not a very social media person. Like you can ask my soon to be wife, my family. I don't post anything online. I'd go years without posting a picture of anything other than my daughter or my son or my daughters or my son. Nothing. And now I'm putting videos of myself and pictures of myself, and
Right?
that's just been something weird. And it's been really hard to remember that because social media hasn't taken up a whole bunch of my life,
Yeah,
and now it does play such a big part. Like it is a big part. You have to be that self promoter for yourself, so you have to throw your stuff out there. And so I try to at the end of my open mics be like, hey, follow me on whatever it is. Most of
yeah.
the time it's TikTok because that's what all the kids are on right now.
Um, So, with that stuff, with the YouTube stuff, are you? What do you? Did you invest in equipment, or are you just putting up a phone? What do you? How do
Um, Oddly enough, I have a really good friend. I actually started off. I met him. I don't know, probably been 2018, late 2018, playing Dungeons and Dragons in his game shop. He describes himself as a serial entrepreneur. He likes to build businesses and then kill them. Uh, so really funny guy. He's actually doing the comedy stuff with me. Every show that I go to, he's at most of the time. I think there's only like a couple that I've been to in the past month that he hasn't been a part of. And he's also a photographer. So he had all the equipment to record, and he's jumped into this, feet first just like I have.
Oh, nurture that real
Mhm.
relationship. I mean, this is a point I was gonna make to you is at the place you are now in the business. Those connections, positive connections, the good ones, hold on to them, and it's a skill to say who is really gonna who am I going to support and who's really going to support me? Who's going to be a positive influence in my life? Bring them closer. Who's
Mhm.
not going to be support? Who's just going to be a drain on my energy and time and all that stuff, and push those people away? It's a skill to first
It is.
determine that, and then be able to put it
Mhm.
into action, because it, the slugs, the people who want to drain your energy,
Mhm.
sometimes will flatter you to the point where it becomes really hard to push them away from you, and you want to
Yeah.
be a nice person, you don't want to be a dick, but in the same sense, these people are not serving you, and the relationship is not serving either one. But when they are so
Exactly.
nice to you, telling you, "Oh, you're great. You should be a star. You should have your own Netflix special." How do you tell that person, like, "I don't have time for you today"? Or
Oh.
it's a
uh it's been funny ever since I've started putting videos out and my comedy and stuff. I do get like I have gotten like a few of my old high school friends like, "Hey man, what you been doing? What you up to? I see you doing this now." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing this now." And then just kind of leave it at that. The people that I've really kept with me are the ones that I know. It sounds super cliche, but they're my ride or die friends. Like they don't have any problem telling me whenever I'm wrong. They don't have any problem telling me whenever one of my jokes is stepping over the line or anything, because I don't see jokes as being able to step over the line. I think you can find humor in the worst of things. They are actually, they live on planet Earth, and they're
Wow.
like, all right, man, maybe pull it back a little bit, or push the line. And they've been so supportive, especially my wife. Uh, Soon to
You
be
know
wife.
what you
Like,
said there is true and it's untrue in the same in the same moment.
mhm,
Um, Doug Stanhope, who's one of the most successful guys working now, he says everything horrible is funny, and that's absolutely true. But there is stuff where everything horrible can be horrible,
mhm,
and understanding how to present it, how to approach making something horrible funny is the essence of a good comedian.
yes,
There are people who just go out there and milk a tragedy for shock value, and
Mhm.
it's not funny at all. But I think a skilled craftsperson in the art of comedy can make
Yes,
even yesterday's terrible tragedy humorous.
exactly. I'm in the process of writing some because mass shooting is so it is such frontline news, and it should be. I actually work at a news station, and I went to I talked to the chief anchor there for our news station. I was like, why do we always lead with such bad things? And he goes, I understand that it gets old, but I don't want to live in a world where bad things don't make the news. And
Right.
I was like, that makes a lot of sense because I never thought about it that way. Um, so I try to, I've been, formulating things, and I always run it by my friends to see if it's stepping over the line. I kind of subscribe to because I've seen and done so many. I'm going to say that I did vile things, but I've seen so many vile things, especially while I was in the military. I did go to Afghanistan, so I did see more than I would have liked to have seen. Uh, so my dark comedy thing's broken to the point where like it can get really dark, and I've subscribed to like the Matt Stone and Trey Parker kind of comedy. Is like if you can't joke about everything, then you can't joke about anything kind of thing. But
Yeah.
at the same time, sometimes you can't use the funny thing and horrible things to override the horrible in it.
Right.
You use the funny to bring out the horrible. It's like, look, this is terrible. This happened. This is a way that you can know that it happened and still cope with what happened,
Right.
kind of thing. That's the way that I see jokes and tragedy.
I appreciate that a great deal. The issue I have, and not with horrible things, but with newsworthy things,
Mm-hmm.
is that you have to continually write new material because they do get old and they don't stand up like and I think back to I did a stand-up routine 1990, I think 1990. Woody Allen and Mia Farrow were going through a divorce at the time. Actually, it was 92 because I remember in the same set I did a joke about Bush and Clinton running against each other, and but that 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 material was dead 3 months later, and so
Yes.
you got to keep writing, and so it, if you do too much that is on contemporary things, you're gonna have to sit down and
Mm-hmm.
write continually, and more you
Exactly.
spend more time writing than performing.
And I like you said, my one of my first sets coming back from the long break that I took through the pandemic. The Bud Light thing that just happened. I wrote it. I
Right.
wrote it out, and I told it one week at an open mic, and it killed. Everyone was laughing. The next week I told it, and they were like, "All right, look, we've heard all these jokes, dude." Like, and
That's old news in a week.
yeah, it was old news in a week. I mean, we moved that fast. So if you're going to be a topic comedian, yeah, you're constantly writing, you're constantly reading, you're constantly, scrolling through Twitter, Facebook, whatever for the newest thing. What I like to do is tell my own stories. I'm a big story comedian, which it doesn't bode well for starting off because you have such small time slots. So you kind of compress everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But every single joke that I've told in any of my videos has it's stretched. I'm not going to say it's 100% true, but it has happened to me.
You can't
Mhm.
ever be 100% true because
No.
listen, you have to embellish a little bit for
Mhm.
comedic purposes, and I really hate when people get over analytical about
On a joke.
comedy. Like, come on, man, cut the guy some slack. You need some leeway to make it funny. I mean,
Mhm.
it's storytelling. If some when your mother or father sat down to tell you a bedtime story, you didn't say, "Hey, wait a minute, there that a duck can't talk." you know,
No.
you gotta be willing to.
It's the
Yeah,
suspension of disbelief. There
right.
you
Suspension
go.
of disbelief. Absolutely. Now you mentioned Bert Kreischer coming to town,
Oh.
and yesterday on Twitter,
Mhm.
it's two guys were arguing about Bert's comedic prowess, and they were saying he's really not that funny. And a guy who was on the show, Mike Vanderveen, who goes by the
Mhm.
name Vander, he was like, "Well, you don't like him, but he's super successful, a millionaire and billionaire, or
Mhm.
multimillionaire, and uh, private jet and all this stuff." I say two things can be true. A guy can be really successful and not be really funny, just a really marketing, not be a great comedian, but be a really good marketing person and draw crowds in and have a gimmick.
Mhm.
Um, and this is not to put Bert Kreischer down, but to recognize that um, his comedy is not really groundbreaking comedy, and be trying to understand or trying to take him as a role model for success could be detrimental to a new comedian who's trying, he's not the type of guy, if I were starting out, that I
Mhm.
would emulate in his practice towards the art, but he is somebody I would definitely emulate in his practice towards building a career, putting yourself out there, letting people know who you are, and self-promotion.
Mhm.
So there's that. I'm not saying it's totally not funny at all. I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
saying he's just not one of the people who is cutting edge and driving comedy to incredible places. Like, and I don't know who I mean, Dave Chappelle, I would have said. Louis C.K., I would say that he is a guy who is constantly evolving. And I'm saying I'm bringing up guys who are all on the cancel culture list, but I'm sorry about that. But do you get what I'm saying here? It's like
Yeah.
Bert's
Oh,
not
100% get it. But on the other hand of that, and I'm not trying to, uh, why reinvent the wheel kind of thing. He's not doing anything new. You're right. He's not.
right.
But he didn't, in my opinion, he didn't really need to. He just needed to get his jokes down. Like I was doing a whole lot of listening to his podcast. I also like Joe Rogan. I'm that's my man Jesus. I like the way Joe Rogan thinks as far as like on a lot of different topics. But it took him 4 years, or it took Bert 4 years of telling his machine joke to get it right. And
Right.
that's what I admire the most. He told that joke behind the scenes before going onto a podcast, and Joe Rogan made him start telling that joke. He's like, look, he said the next city that he went to, they didn't let him go off the stage until he told that story.
Right.
And
Exactly.
he
Yeah.
killed it. Like, he didn't kill it. He bombed with it, but he
Right.
continuously did it and did it and did it. And that's what I really, really admire of Bert,
That is
is his work
one
ethic.
instance where it's a unique instance that, as far as my awareness, of something that happened
Hmm.
that a comedian had not planned on using as material, but the audience forced him to do it because they
But
heard the story he told
yeah,
on
on
Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Right.
You can go back and you watch the episode. Joe Rogan's like, "Where are you going next? Where's your next show?" And he's like, "I think it was like in Ohio or something like that." And they said, "This place in Ohio." I want to say it was Cleveland. I don't know, but he said, "This place in Ohio. Don't let him go off stage until he tells that story." And he goes out there, he does his taking the shirt off thing like he always does. He goes through his set and he goes to leave, and they're like, machine, machine. And they didn't leave the stands or the auditorium until he came back out there and said it and told it,
Uh,
which was really funny
yeah.
because, I mean, one, it shows you how much weight Joe Rogan really had. Like, I'm pretty sure he controls an army, but doesn't know it.
I think he knows it now. I think he knows it now. I mean, I would agree that for when he was, in his formative years with this
Hmm.
podcast, he didn't realize the
No,
extent of the influence he has. But
he does now.
if in my generation, Oprah Winfrey wielded tremendous power in influencing people's behaviors and buying decisions.
Hmm.
Joe Rogan eclipses that by 1,000 times what Oprah's
Hmm.
influence on the American public was.
Oprah Winfrey is also from Mississippi.
Yeah.
Eh,
I thought she was from Tennessee, but okay.
wait, is she? I don't want to be wrong.
I don't know. You could be right. I don't really know.
I'm sure. I know she's from around the area.
I know she was a
I think
Southern
she's.
girl. That's
Yeah. I thought it
um,
was so funny because she had forgotten how to pump her gas after she became famous and was as successful as she was. God, she is an idol and icon for so many. Uh, and then I heard that she couldn't pump her gas and destroyed my soul,
Yeah.
or she forgot how to pump her gas. And
Hey, listen, if I had $1 billion in the bank, I would quickly forget how to learn.
exactly, I would forget how to mow my grass. I would forget how.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I forgot how to put my blue jeans on.
Yeah. You said you are a fan of the way Rogan thinks. I got to ask, are you
I
a
do.
conspiracy minded at all? Like, not. I'm not going to go to the political stuff, but the
Yeah.
moon landing. Now I know Joe has kind of changed, done a
Hmm.
180 from the moon landing was fake to the moon landing was real. But
Hmm.
in other, like the Atlantis stuff,
Oh
the
gosh.
do you buy into any of that stuff?
I'm not a big conspiracy theorist unless there is a logical line in which I believe that it can happen.
Right.
Uh, like you
You
said, not to bring up the political
UFOs?
stuff or UFOs. Okay, I have a good one on that, and I'll try to make it as quick as possible because I do got to
Yeah,
go to
you. I
work.
know you
But
have to leave in 4 minutes.
yeah, um, UFOs. So humanity as a whole has been. I say humanity. Humans have been a species for what? Uh, uh, maybe a million years, maybe a little bit longer, a couple million years.
Yeah,
And the
something.
world, the Earth is billions of years old. So that's like that, right?
Right.
So if aliens, and now UFOs are a thing. I think there are unidentified flying objects, but are they from space? Or are they from another civilization? Right, uh, in space? I don't think so because the one we've been a species for a million years, but we've only made ourselves really known in the past what 70, 80 years
Yeah.
with the atomic bomb in the 30s, the satellites, space flight, stuff like that. So that's like that'd be like a me seeing a grain of sand moving at the speed of light right in front of my face. Yeah,
Right.
I wouldn't see it.
Right.
So that's my theory on that. Like I said, I don't
Yeah.
think yes UFOs exist, but I don't think they're from alien, like they're extraterrestrial. I don't
I I
know. I don't
I
know.
think I'm pretty much on the same idea as you are with
Mhm.
that. I definitely think there's probably other life forms somewhere else in the
Oh yeah.
universe, but why? Why, what's
Hmm.
here for them? It's like I think of it as like an ant colony. Why would I visit an ant colony?
Yeah,
I haven't.
exactly. We don't care about seeing the ant colony. We don't go out of our way to see an ant colony. Why would they go out of their way to see us?
Unless they're in my house, and then I will bomb the fuck out
But
of
yes,
them.
but it does raise the question, or it does make. I've been playing a space game on my
Yeah,
computer with my friends, and in that game you can build observatories over pre light travel civilizations. So I mean, what if the moon isn't the moon? Kind of thing. I don't believe this. This is just an idea. What if the moon isn't the moon and it's just a place where they're watching us? It's like that's why we see them. That could be. I don't know. Like I said, I've been playing a game.
well, yeah. Somebody said last week the moon has a gooey chocolate center. Okay, I'm down with that.
Like a, a
I like
Ferrero
chocolate.
Rocher.
Listen, I know you have to go. You have things to do. I
Yeah, I gotta get
appreciate
to
you
work.
being here. Please do come back sometime. And
I definitely
most
will.
importantly, anything that you have to promote, just send me an email. Just drop me a note to check out your Facebook page or wherever you have information about it. I'll be glad to
Mhm.
get the information out. We'll do everything we can to support
Dude,
you.
thank you so much. That means more to me than anyone will ever know.
Well, enjoy yourself. Enjoy the comedy that you're creating. Have fun with your life, and we wish you great success. And please do come back sometime.
You take care, Matt.
You too. Have a great day. Bye for now. Logan Peters, good guy. He's got his he's approaching it the right way, and I like that. I really do. I mean, I I again broken record here. I really think it's important. $20, $20, getting paid $20 can be a a shot of adrenaline to whatever art you create. It really can. It's an important catalyst to improving your art. And I know people out there. You're working your regular job and you're thinking $20. That's what I make in an hour. Well, yeah. Well, you probably made that in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half hour, whatever. So don't put it down. And also, if you're in the arts, um, that should be, money should never ever be the entire reason you do stuff. But understanding, Bob Ross used to say this: sell your paintings, because the minute somebody buys your paintings, it validates you as an artist in your own mind, and it will help you create better work. That's the rant for this segment. Our next hour will be pretty much just me ranting. But in the meantime, if you're looking to learn to play guitar, and I know you are, or any instrument really, check out TrueFire. TrueFire.com. You can actually learn from some of your heroes, some of the best people who are out there doing it. Check it out, TrueFire.com.
Over 2 million guitar players worldwide learn, practice, and play with TrueFire. Our learning tools and massive library of video lessons will ignite your technical skills, harmonic knowledge, rhythm playing, and soloing chops. TrueFire's educators are the best in the biz, from Grammy Award winners to world-renowned artists. You'll have access to an unparalleled faculty of over 300 top-notch blues, rock, jazz, country, fingerstyle, and acoustic guitar educators. Using our desktop and mobile apps, you'll work with TrueFire's multi-angle video lessons on any device, anytime, anywhere. Integrated learning tools such as video synced tab and notation, slow-mo, looping, practice jam tracks, and many more handy controls accelerate your learning experience. TrueFire style-specific learning paths guide you every step of the way. Use our assessment tools to find your starting point, then follow our lesson recommendations and track your progress as you work through your personalized TrueFire study plan. Progress faster with private one-on-one instruction, group lessons, multi-track video jams, live streams, song lessons, student forums, TrueFire's Riff magazine, premium jam tracks, and much, much more. With thousands of 5-star ratings and reviews from amateur and pro players alike, you'll find yourself in good company with the world's most comprehensive guitar learning platform. Grab your guitar and ignite your musicality. Sign up free for an all-access trial today.
Invite musicality. That's grab your guitar. Invite musicality.
You're watching WDOG Mind Dog TV.
I don't know. Are you watching? Logan Peters, folks. Check him out on Facebook. I believe he's also on Instagram, YouTube. Links will be in the description. Good guy. Tupelo, Mississippi. Van Morrison. She's as sweet as Tupelo, Mississippi. Is all I know about. She's as sweet as Tupelo honey. Honey from the bee. That's all I know about Tupelo, Mississippi. Again, in almost 64 years now, probably spent a total of 30 minutes in the state of Mississippi. Actually, we did a weekend there. Weekend there in 1997. Not well received with the troop I was traveling with. Not well received at all. But it was that was when I was working with the cult, New Age stuff, New Age healers, and there is a common sense, very down to earth. I'm sure there are people who have some pretty far out beliefs everywhere, culturally in this wide, diverse country we live in. World we live in, not just country. But some of the energy healing stuff comes off as it should, hocus pocus. And so the weekend we spent there was not well received. I don't think we did any any real business in that area. What I'm noticing, here's the thing: the guy who wait, Robert's saying I spent 2 years in Mississippi 1 week. Yeah, no, that's a line. Well, that, Robert Klein in his song "The Bronx Is Beautiful." He said, "I'm very fond of Cleveland. I spent a week there one day." Cleveland's another place. I'd rather be in Tupelo, Mississippi, than Cleveland, Ohio. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. No, thank you. Not to if you're from Cleveland, I love you, people from Cleveland. The city, not so fond of. Not so fond of the city, and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, not fond of it all. I don't appreciate the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at all. I don't know how I got on this, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a bogus tourist trap that has nothing to do with rock and roll or what made rock and roll great. It's now just it should be the music tourist capital, music um across all genres. Rename the thing as it's just a music dumping ground for tourists and people who want to feel like um they know more about the people they're a fan of. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I am a fan of some of the people from other genres that get in there. Don't get me wrong. Willie Nelson, huge fan. He does not belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Dolly Parton, to her credit, said, "No, thank you. I don't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame." Maybe she I don't know. Maybe she has some principles about that, or maybe she just she has her own reasons for wanting to, do her own thing in Nashville, Dollywood, and all that stuff. Whatever. But I do think, you can't water down something like that. I'm not a big fan of Hall of Fames, but I did bring this up yesterday. I shouldn't say there is no. There are two online comedy Hall of Fames, comedy music, and they're not very well done. Um, and most people don't know about them. There's no building, no kiosks like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or Sports Hall of Fames have, where you can walk through there and learn about some of the artists and all that stuff. There's none of that for comedy. There should be. Part of the reason we struggle to monetize comedy, at least at the beginning levels, and then once you make it to the top level, you become like a Tom Brady salary, but at the top levels. But until you get there, it's a struggle to monetize it at all. And part of the reason is we fail to see the value in comedy, and that's a mistake for us. You know, comedy is, and this is probably why people have seen some bad things in the military gravitate towards it, because it is probably the best mental health medicine that we could ever come up with. You can talk about all the drugs and treatment and therapy and all that stuff. Comedy, being able to laugh, being able to see the world and laugh at our own condition, laugh at the problems we create for ourselves, is golden, and it should be seen as valuable. But society slow to get that. The court jesters in the day held prominence in monarchies. Court jesters were important. People understood the value of being able to laugh, and I think we really need to, remember that. Rest of the week coming up. Let me quickly look at this. Rob Weber. That's tomorrow night. I don't have a guest for tomorrow morning. Actually, we've had a rescheduling, and so next Wednesday I have two. So no guest tomorrow on the daytime show. Rob Weber will be my guest at night. He is a comedian, which we don't generally have comedians on the evening show on Wednesdays. Those are generally reserved for authors or conspiracy people or flat earthers or moon landing was fake guy or that stuff. That's what we do on Wednesday nights. But comedian Rob Weber will be with us. He's from Vancouver. And even though we expanded the morning show to accommodate somewhat the West Coasties, it's still too early for him. So we're doing a nighttime show. So we don't have a guest for tomorrow. I'll work on one. We'll probably get one. Uh, Thursday, Tay Madden, who is a very impressive comedian. And Friday, Eli Halpern. Eli Halpern is a comedian, ninja, an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur of a protein bar, protein snack, protein food supplement that is made entirely of crickets. And I talked about this. I don't know if I could ever eat a cricket knowing I was eating a cricket. If you could slip it to me. Somebody slip me a Mickey cricket or a Jiminy cricket. But to somebody say, here's a cricket, eat it. I think I probably starved to death before chomping on a cricket. If you've ever stepped on a cricket, and I have, um, you can't imagine anybody saying, "Well, that looks like good eatings." And I suppose it's a cultural thing. I don't know. People eat gopher. People eat all sorts of rabbit. That kind of stuff. But crickets, tough one. So that should be an interesting one. He's a comedian, ninjutsu guy, and cricket entrepreneur, cricket protein entrepreneur. I don't know. Do you feel like you could eat crickets? Let me know. Um, so that's pretty much it for today. I did notice, the guy who the guy who threatened to come and kill me the other day and didn't show up for a variety of reasons. We can talk about that forever. And but I am still listed as an administrator for his business on their social media pages. Now, I'm not going to do anything malicious but I'm keeping that. I'm not saying, if he wants to cancel, he heals this today and wants to cut me out of that. That would be a smart move on his point. I'm not going to do anything, but it's just funny to me. This guy doesn't even know he's undressed. And if I were such a devious, dirty bastard, the damage I could do to his business in one day. So again, if you're listening, you probably would be smart to eliminate me from the administrator role on all your social media pages. But until you do, we're all going to be fucking laughing at you, knowing that although I'm not going to do anything malicious or criminal, I could destroy your business today if I were so inclined. That just points out how fucking stupid you are. Now, I understand. You're a Met fan, and that probably has something to do with your stupidity. Listen, uh, any Met fans out there? I'll talk a little slower just for you. I'm kidding, of course. I was a Met fan most of my life until they just kept breaking my heart over and over again, and then I decided no more sports at all. Um, but then the last couple of years that the Met fans have had a chip on their shoulder about declaring themselves world champions in April. I thought I'd have some fun with them and bust some balls. That made somebody angry enough to want to threaten my life because I said the Mets suck. Whatever. A very unhinged person. But it's just interesting that I get all the notifications about his social media pages. And I see that I'm still listed as the admin. Of course, other people are. But so I'm sure people are listening to this who know about this. Maybe they can't figure out how to disconnect me from that role, and that's fine. I can do it for you if I wanted to do it. but I'm gonna just go along, just see how long you leave your pants dropped, bent over, with me with a I don't know, broomstick handle, ready to ream you in the ass anytime I want, but I won't. Just knowing I could makes me laugh. I'm not a vengeful person, and I won't hurt you. I'm not. I don't believe in revenge. I'm not a marine, a vengeful. I'm sorry. I just got a marine notice. For some reason, the algorithms do listen to me and shove shit in my face. I just got a Marines ad right in front of my face here as I'm talking because I had a Marine on this morning. Go figure. Um, so anyway, it's just humorous to me that I'm still there. Back to what I was talking about um, before Logan Peters came on. Is this the streaming media guys, people who in Matt Walsh, Daily Daily Wire, Matt Walsh, very insecure man. He writes for the Daily Wire. He does a show for the Daily Wire. He does films. Obsessed, like Tucker Carlson was with manliness. I'm going to tan you. What's happened to manliness? Now, does anybody stop to consider that these guys who are preaching manliness and what happened to real men? Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is what in my day in school he would have been bullied to the ends of the earth for being a sissy boy. Matt Walsh, same thing. Matt Walsh hides behind a big beard, and he talks about manliness. Like tanning your balls is not going to make you more manly. I promise. We're having a big beard and talking like a tough guy is not going to make you more manly. But Matt Walsh yesterday, admitting he doesn't know anything about sports, never played sports, was comparing hockey to football and said you can't be manly wearing ice skates. Oh my God. You know what? Gordie Howe would fuck him in the ass. um, some Dave Schultz, the old Philadelphia Flyers enforcer, would have him like Ned Beatty squealing like a pig. A little louder, little louder, little louder, pig. And it's always these guys who, you know, I don't know, they have absolutely no testosterone flowing through their brains, who imagine themselves as the voice of manhood. But the problem is they have tremendous influence and no responsibility for what they say at all. And a lot of these people listen to them, and a lot of people, let's face it, we live in a time where thinking independently for yourself is a rarity. And so many people surrender their ability to think for themselves to people like Tucker Carlson or to people like Matt Walsh or Ben Shapiro or any of these unmanly advocates of manliness. Ben Shapiro, shit, man. If he weren't famous, if he weren't rich and famous, he would probably be getting smacked around. But since he can hire a security force, um, what is this? AW says that sci-fi movie they did that. What am I missing? Everyone on a train being crickets. Everyone on a train and they were being fed crickets into a Kelly bar. I thought Soylent Green was people. Jelly bar. Movie was the movie with Snowpiercer. Maybe I've done wrong. Soylent Brown is cricketless. Crickets tell the people. No, I I thought it was people. Soylent Brown. Soylent Green is people, right? I don't know. Now you got me confused, AW. got me all. I went back to crickets from the Manly rant. Anyway, it's really about these social media influencers, these people who are streamers. And listen, some of them. Good morning, Ian. Been a stranger lately, coming in late. Coffee with the dog is a little bit late. It's like getting to be cold coffee at this point. I got to finish this so I can get refreshed and get on with the day. Silent spleen, he says. I'll confess, I never really saw the movie Soylent Green. I never, uh, but it was a big part of pop culture in the '70s, and the people would just recite that line: "Soylent Green is people." So I mean, that gives away the whole movie right there. People eating. Why are they feeding? We're being cannibalistic steaks or whatever they were. Whatever. Our food source is people. Whatever. So no interest in seeing the movie after you know Soylent Green is people. Don't need to see the movie. Excuse me. Um, mm, people. Uh, Yesterday, I went to meet with Surfer Phil. Went for a beautiful day here, by the way. Yesterday, 80 degrees, sunshiny, beautiful, not a cloud in the sky. We went to have a little lunch, catch up with my old friend Phil. And back in the day, Phil and I grew up in the '70s, and potheads, big time potheads, as kids, teenagers. And, I gave up I put the stuff aside for a couple of times in my life, one for almost 10 years, and then another time for about 3 years when I first got married to my current wife. And Phil has too, but yesterday, just in conversation, when you smoking? Yeah, yeah. Phil says, I got a guy and I'm going to give this guy to you. Yeah, I don't need a guy. I got medical. It comes right. I mean, legal. It comes right to my house. I order online and they ship it to my house. It's like you can't have it any better than that. And he said, "Nah, I got a guy." He said, "Prices, 1970s prices for the best, better than the medical stuff." And if you're a follower program, I've been saying I broke my ability to get high. Like for the last probably I want to say 2 maybe 3 months. That creative buzz that I look to get from a sativa late at night to drive me into creating stuff, to fuel my late night writing, music production, film production, all that kind of stuff. Struggling, like I can't reach that anymore. And I'm buying stuff online. And so Phil took me out after lunch yesterday and rolled a joint from his guy. And I don't know if I tell you, I was so frigging high yesterday that I came in and I worked when I got home, I worked for 13 hours straight on the buzz and at 1970s prices. So the point I guess I'm making here is perhaps the medical stuff or the legal stuff. It started as medical here in New York. Uh, Maybe it's intentionally not as strong as black market stuff. It is definitely more expensive. And I'm not sure that legalization ended up being a benefit for people who consume. I think we're probably better off as consumers when it was illegal. Now, the argument will be made, doesn't that empower organized crime, cartels, all that stuff? Probably does. Probably does. But I'm just talking about from the consumer standpoint. So if we want to make this whole legalization work, the legal stuff has to be as good as what Phil turned me on to yesterday. It has to be, and it has to be cheaper. If I can get an ounce for $140 of something that is going to be really sweet, tastes great, and get me where I need to be as far as stimulating my creative juices. Or I could pay $400 for something that doesn't. What am I going to do? What would you do? Would you say, "Oh, I don't want to empower the cartels. I don't want to empower organized crime"? Or you say, "I'm going to save $260 and get where I need to be"? I don't want to be supporting cartels. So what I'm saying is, America, New York State, whoever is in charge of all this marijuana legalization and the legal marijuana, do it right. Do it like the guy. I don't want to put the guy out of business. Maybe the guy should get legal with it. But then is the prices. The price is going to jump to and the quality go down. Prices go up, quality goes down. Medical people, legal people, weed business, and cannabis industry. Get your shit together. Bring the prices down. Get real. First of all, it's not something that requires manufacturing. The price is set high just on demand or because people will pay it. You can make it cheaper if you want. Obviously, you could because the guy on the black market is doing it for 140 an ounce when you're doing 400 an ounce, and his stuff's better. So it's artificially driving the prices up. You could bring the prices down, make it more reasonable, and you would be serving the stated goals of keeping it away from organized crime and cartels to state controlled, driving revenue for tax purposes, all that. You would achieve your goals better and the stated goals better if you did the right thing. This is where capitalism loses focus. I'm not anti-capitalist per se, and I'm not like one of these um, complete uh, socialists and think that capitalism is all evil. I think capitalism needs lots of checks and balances. Most of those checks and balances do not need to come from the government per se. They need to come from consumers and people who are actually driving the market, supporting the market, no matter what the product is. Anyway, I'm rambling here. I'm rambling. I want to stop rambling and I want to go do some things that are productive today. I do have a lot of business to take care of, and that's a good thing. And hopefully, here's the thing. What I need. Oh, AW never saw the movie either. AW, are you on a delay? Are you like 15 minutes behind me? Because it seems to be a conversation that was in my time machine in the past. And I'm not, if this happens, if the scroll bar on the bottom, uh, Ramblin' Rose. Who did that? Was that Nat King Cole? Ramblin' Rose. I got to look that up. Nat King Cole, I think, was Ramblin'. Now, Ian must be older than I imagine because Ramblin' Rose, MC5. I don't know. MC5. I don't even know him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe MC5 covered a Nat King Cole song. MC5. I'm not even familiar with them. Now you got me really confused. First, I'm thinking you're older than I imagine. Now I'm thinking you're younger than I imagine. You're an enigma, Ian. Um, you know what, Ian? Someday, you should probably send me a portfolio of your work to showcase to people. Ian's a glass artist. Uh, 1970s rock band, MC5? Really? How did I not know about them? MC5. I will look it up after the program. I promise you. I will educate myself on this. Um, I did not know that, but I believe it was originally Nat King Cole song that he played on banjo. Uh, he's 100-year-old enigma, like me. Uh, anyway, I guess that I'm going to let that be the show for today. Here's what I want to know because I'm a little bit emboldened by the score of getting Robert Klein, who I was after for a long time and got him to be a guest. Now I have it in my mind, and this is how you subconscious work. I have it in my mind that everyone I want is gettable. It's just a matter of the right strategy, the right persistence, and all that stuff. So I know a few people that I am definitely targeting to be guests on this program. But I never bothered to ask the audience, who do you want to see? Who do you want me to get? Give me a challenge. Challenge me to get a great guest on this program. At least put it out there so I can have a goal to shoot for you, not necessarily for me. Because at this point, right now, all of my energy is going towards getting my dream guest, which might not, and certainly there's possibility that might not be who you want to see. Uh, well, I get Henry Phillips again. Henry can't do the morning show. He just can't. He's not an early riser. Um, I could get Henry and tape, pre-tape. I don't like to pre-tape stuff. I know I can. Henry is a very accommodating guy, and if I ask him to do the show again, I'm sure he will. If he's on the road, if he's in New York, I could probably get him to do the morning show. But in LA, it's not going to happen. But Henry's always welcome here. He's a great guest. He's fun to talk to. Funny guy. Love his um, dry sense of humor. Stanhope, Pete Holmes, Matt. All right, noted. I'll work on all three. I will definitely work on all three. And it's important. You know what? This is a good thing that I can at least say. Well, my audience has asked for you. Got to mean something to you. My audience is asking to see you. Come on, come on. You, they want this. If they're asking to see you, they're your audience, and they just happen to be dropping in my house to say, "Can you get them?" So that helps, believe it or not. So just keep putting those names out there, man. Um, I'm really down with that. So I will work on anybody you want me to get. I'll tell you who, because I put this out there because my Rabbi Tom, Tom Kanapka, who is not a rabbi. He's Kanapka ends in an A, not a rabbi. He is my consigliere. He counseled me not to put out the Robert Klein stuff to the audience and tell people I was getting it, and I agreed with that for a while. But then I did let it slip, and the more I let it slip, the more I was inclined that I felt obligated to follow through on that now. So I don't think it's a bad thing to tell you who I'm targeting, who I want to get on the program. I'm shooting pretty high. Dave Attell, my number one. My number one target right now. Somebody I'm pursuing hard. I've had Inman. Yeah, that's got to be a joke, Ian. No, Inman is banned from ever being on. I think I had him on 4 times. But he tends to get really ugly towards people who have any disagreement with him whatsoever. He's extremely, as you know, conspiratorial minded. Everybody's out to get him. And if you disagree with him on anything, you become his mortal enemy in a sense. And the screaming, uh, the bullshitting about his supposed well-read, the state of his reading and education. Oh, I read so many books. No, you read titles of books, James. You read the headline and say, "Oh, I read the book." Yeah, tell me what it says in the book. Generally, not a good guy. I don't have a. Listen, Andy is the reason I had James on in the first place. And the first time I had James on, I said to Andy, "You set me up." He said, "You fucked up. You trusted me." Yeah, and this is a guy who knows James all too well. Also, I'm just going to say this: James is a user. He used his friend's cancer to get on a podcast. Not like he was trying to do anything nice for Andy or support him in any way. He went out to see him just for the sole purpose of getting on the oh, yeah, you got kids. I feel yeah. What'd you do for him? Did you bring him anything? Did you do anything to make him feel better? Did you comfort him in any way, or was it just about promoting yourself on this podcast and getting on there and get in front of the IWA audience? That's all James did. So no, so you fucker, you got me on James Inman. I don't want to talk about Inman anymore. Attell is on my list. Billy Joel is on my list. Billy Joel's a big get. He won't, his podcast. Oh, I got time for that. A couple of people who are not necessarily, Mount Rushmore, A-list, maybe he is an A-list celebrity. Paul Schaefer, I am definitely working hard on. Paul Schaefer, back in the early 80s, when Letterman was just starting out, Paul Schaefer actually performed on two of my records, two songs on my records. Spent a day in the studio with the man. Taught me a lot in just one day. He's gettable, and I think he's a very interesting guy because he's played with so many people and had so many. You talk about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he's tied into that. But I would definitely want to get him on. There are people on my list that I'm definitely more inspired to get right now. And one of them I want to get, I have some home phone numbers. Somebody gave me home phone numbers of classic comedians who are the fame of the 20th century. But all these guys are in their 90s now. And surprisingly enough, they know how to do well. They are capable of doing this kind of like remote interview. But I just feel like, talking to a guy who's almost 100, it might be a tough conversation and not all is entertaining. It's great to get to meet these guys before they pass and to, hopefully celebrate their life. I don't want to turn into Ralph Emery. Mel Brooks, this is your life. And then have them die on my program. Maybe that would be good for ratings. Hey, did you hear Mel Brooks died on a podcast? Oh, what podcast? Oh, Coffee with the Dog. There you go. I've made it, ladies and gentlemen. The Killer. I'm not going to get Mel Brooks. I do have his contact. Shecky Green. I think Shecky's getting close. Uh, that's right, John. That's all it's all that matters is the rating. Listen, Howard Stern, the guy I was compared to when I was in terrestrial radio, as a Howard Stern wannabe. Howard would definitely gravitate with the idea that I hope this guy dies on my podcast, on my radio show. It's all about the ratings. I know, and listen, that's not hyperbole. Howard would definitely welcome a major celebrity from the 20th century croaking on his radio show, even now. Anyway, think of the ratings. I think I'll sign off now. I will be back tomorrow. I don't have a guest scheduled tomorrow, but I will dig. I will dig to see if I can get a replacement guest. Howard would buy air. I laugh, but it's true. It's definitely true. That's a show today. Logan Peters, follow him. Seems like a good guy on the road to better things. Tupelo, Mississippi's got to be a really tough place to establish a comedy career. But as in most things, Jesus wasn't a hit in his hometown. You got to travel. You can't stay in and this is part of my. I don't know. I don't want to go there. There's how do I? The friend I have who I'm concerned about who parked himself in a very small market, a small market where the biggest city in the state would be a small town in a New York suburb. I mean, really, population-wise. How long can you really work on a career and thrive? You know, it's the same old thing. You end up playing for the same audiences. Eventually, those audiences are going to get bored with you if you don't continue to bring something new to the table. Before I sign off, I'll just regurgitate the same thing that I've said a million times. Al Baker, a close-up musician, sleight of hand guy, once said to me, the difference between a professional magician and an amateur magician is a professional does tried and true material for new audiences continuously, and an amateur needs to go buy new effects at the magic store to do for his same old friends and family. And if you park yourself in a small community and become just continually doing the same material in that small market, you're going to run out of people to impress, and people are going to get bored with you. It's just in human nature. So you got to hit the road. You got to make a bigger audience for yourself, a wider audience, become a professional, do tested material for new audiences instead of doing new material for the same audience over and over again. That's my half-assed advice for people in the arts. Hope you enjoyed the program. Hope you tell your friends about it. Come on back. Download the app. Leave me a good review, please. You don't even have to listen to the app, but I hope you do, because some of you are actually on there, especially the musician people, the independent musicians. I think we have every single independent music artist who's been on this program. Their music is in the rotation on Mind Dog Radio. So you're on there, man, and hear how your music stacks up next to classic hits and current stuff and all that kind of stuff. You can hear how it actually fits in, and you can say, well, yeah, we actually are radio friendly or not, depending on how you perceive the context of where your music is heard. And also comedians. We have lots of comedians who've been on this program. Little sound, 3-minute bits, 4-minute bits. I think I have an entire half hour of a half-hour special on this. So, comedy album. So get on it, get the app, listen to it. And if you have stuff you want me to add into the rotation, you got bits, you want to just audio bits, send them to me. I will add them to the rotation. So that's the show for today. Is that the show for today? Would you like to turn on your radio? Turn on my radio. Turn on Mind Dog TV. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Monday.
Oh me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.